Welcome to our 7th episode of Welcome to Tater
Tater, you're
Talks.
muted.
I am so sorry. Hello. Welcome again. Welcome to Tater Talks. My name is Tater-talks. I am your host. Welcome to our 7th episode of the Tater-talks podcast, where video gaming, streaming, spirituality, and video gaming all coexist as one, where we talk about mental health. We talk about life issues that go along with different issues that we wish to accomplish as one. Like I said, my name's Tater. I'm your host. Alongside today, we have our co-host, Mr. Aaron. Mr. Aaron, how you doing this week?
I'm doing good this week.
Oh, yeah?
Surprisingly doing well this week.
Oh, yeah, man? And
Yeah.
what you been up to?
Gaming, taking care of the kiddos,
Yeah?
and working on my hunting pup.
Oh, yeah, your hunting pup? Okay, how old's
Yeah.
what breed is it, and how old
So,
is it?
red lab.
It's a red lab.
About 6 months old. She's due for her shot soon.
Okay,
But she's
Chief.
still in the process of learning.
No, I got you, man. You been hunting at all this week?
This week, no. I usually do it on the weekends.
Okay, I got you, man. I got you. I know hunting season recently began. Is that correct?
Pheasant has, yes. Started
Pheasant?
November something.
I got
Beginning
you.
of the month.
I got you. Well, definitely welcome back to you, man. I'm definitely glad that you were able to come in for another episode this week. We have another guest that decided to join us today. We have Miss Megan. How are you doing, honey?
I am fantastic.
Oh, yeah? And how was your week been?
Oh, stressful, but good. I mean, kids keep me on my toes, but I'm excited for my cruise next week. So,
no, I gotcha. Where are you going for your cruise?
I'm going to the Bahamas.
Bahamas. Okay. Who you taking a cruise with?
It's my husband. It's for our 2-year anniversary.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. And who? So, let me reclarify. Who is the cruise line?
We're going with Carnival.
Yes. Love Carnival. I've never been on a Carnival cruise myself, but like watching all the videos, everybody having fun. They're like, oh. Did you also buy like the all you can drink package and whatnot?
God, for $900, no. I won't lie. No.
Well,
we'll see.
Well, I know. So, of course, you ever sit there at work and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna see how much a cruise is, and you start looking at the prices and whatnot. I know they got bottomless adult drinks, and then they have like bottomless sodas.
We did do the soda package.
Okay. So we did do the soda package. We didn't do the adult beverage package. Okay. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Me some mimosas on the sitting on the side of the cruise. It's definitely my little area. Okay.
I mean, I'll still be drinking.
Yeah, I mean, but we definitely. No, I gotcha. Do apologize. Give me just a moment here. Okay, we're gonna disconnect that for now. That's fine. I ain't gonna mess with it.
I'm hoping TikTok's up.
Do what?
I'm hoping that TikTok's up.
Yeah, yeah. We're still working with the new technical issues. Recently, we acquired access to be able to go live on TikTok, so we're very excited to start venturing on that one. So I'm super excited, but let's kind of get into it, guys. Let me get this fixed up here. So today, we're going to dive into how mental health can impact relationships, work performance, and overall well-being. Plus, we're going to be sharing some practical strategies and answer your questions live for those of you that are watching us. Like I said, today's topic is really just, is your mental health affecting your daily life? Sometimes we sit there at work and we're going through day to day, or we're sitting at home taking care of our kids, and we start to kind of have those self checks of, am I okay? You ever, I know, you were talking about your husband, Megan. Did your husband ever like catch you off guard and just like, honey, are you okay?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Especially since he works from home and we're both home all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's like
You said he works from home. If you don't mind me asking, what type of business is that?
he works for Inflow and it's hard to explain, but like you know when you like call into a place and they have like an automatic phone system type thing, he works on that.
Okay.
He's like an IT guy for that. They make those and everything.
No, I got you, man. I got you 100%. 100%. Um, I can definitely, work from home life is definitely a luxury that I enjoy. You know, going back to office, don't get me wrong, with me being like a social butterfly, I'm all about, the office work gossip. But 9 times out of 10, if I could trade that for a work from home position, 100%. I get to be in my elegance. I get to, be in my systems and whatnot. I'm in my own environment. I'm not having to worry about, is there a car crash on the road? Do I have to be at work 2 hours early? I could sleep in.
Oh yeah. It definitely has their benefits.
So, the way I'm gonna kind of do this is I'm gonna open the floor with our first question this evening. Our first question is, let's address the core question: how can mental health shape our daily experiences? Can you share a time when your mental health significantly impacted your day-to-day life or someone you have worked or cohabited with? And I'm gonna let Megan be the first one to answer that question.
That's a hard one, honestly. But as someone who has some like severe anxiety and everything like that, like I'm always on edge, and I know it impacts how I raise my children too. Ugh, I this one's hard, man. You put me on spot first.
gotta be on the ball. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Oh
kidding.
man, oh I know.
So I'll help you out here, okay? So a lot of my key references that I like to use a lot is the main reason, as I've always stated, the main prime fuel that helped me create this podcast is the passing of my brother. Me and him, we talked about so many different things, and if we're speaking from a very rough side of the equation, the death of a family member, of course, can trigger your mental health 100%. So if you want to use that for an example to talk about like how did you handle that day, how did you what were the proper steps as to not exactly proper steps, but let me rephrase that. There's a difference between a passing in the family or somebody just spilled coffee on you.
Oh yeah.
They're both detrimental because you now have coffee on you. But what's your initial reaction, of course?
Get up and yell. But like, if it comes to like my life, I would have to say my mom walking out when I was 6, never coming back.
Okay.
And not having a relationship with my dad either. So.
Okay. Now you said you also suffer from anxiety issues. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So we'll kind of shine some light on that just a little bit. How does your anxiety trigger from day to day?
Oh God. I mean, there's things I can't do. Like I have to talk myself into actually leaving my house. I don't like really going outside. So that kind of impacts my children too. Because they're not getting the experience outside. Plus, we don't have a fence, so I get that anxiety of being outside and people driving past and not paying attention.
Okay.
And I mean, how oh God. It's my anxiety is so hard to explain. Like when I get the sweats and I can't control anything.
Would you
So
say some days are more easier than others?
oh yeah, no, definitely. And I'm on a new medication too, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
But just kind of how serious the situation is. But I mean, some days my anxiety is so bad, like I can't sleep. I can't do the things that I need to do around the house because I just kind of feel stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and it impacts my children too.
Oh yeah. What about you? What about you, Aaron?
Ooh. So like back when I was welding, I masked everything up so well, especially when I was a welder. I'd be behind the hood constantly for 10 hours a day. And the days that I was like depressed walking into work, it drove my productivity up
Mm-hmm.
because I was just wanting to be by myself. Um, and not really socialize with people, and it drove my productivity up. But then there'd be like days where I was fine and I would go into work and wouldn't get much done because I was social and wanted to be around people, wanted to talk to people. I mean, it different from being at home where those days I'd isolate myself still and not really, and no one would really not talk to anybody. And so it made it hard to figure out what to make for dinner or stuff to do around the house when I just didn't want to do anything. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there was always easy days that I came home and stuff like that.
Come home and like the house be done, or come home and that'd be just an overwhelming feeling of chores.
It's sometimes an overwhelming thing of chores to get done,
Okay.
and it. I mean, some days I would want to do them, some days I wouldn't want to, but
Right.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's how it goes.
right. I was gonna say that I don't think that's more of a. I don't want to necessarily call that a mental issue. That's more of a, like, look, we all face. We see that. Look, for example, when we do laundry, the laundry's clean, but it's still in that basket for like 2 weeks.
Hmm.
7 to 10 business days before that shit gets folded. Okay. Let's be real.
Yeah, I'm bad
So,
about that.
I guess let me ask my second question here, and maybe that'll help out what I'm trying to go for here. Do you think the impact of mental health on daily life is underestimated by most people? Why or why not? If you agree or disagree, and either one of you can start that one.
I mean, I'll go ahead. I mean, yeah, it is underestimated because you really don't know what somebody's going through. Um, you don't know what their day-to-day issues are. It's I mean, you might have your own mental issues, but somebody else's is completely different. Um, and I and people think that mental health, like a lot of people think that mental health is just a joke and they don't need the help and that they should just shrug it off and be okay. And it's those people that need to understand that like we're not okay. Like most days we aren't.
No, I agree. What about you, Aaron?
I gotta agree with her. It's
Do you have anything you want to add on that before I give my spiel?
Not really. Go ahead.
Okay. So yes, I 100% do agree with you on that. I feel like the common workplace and the society itself, what I get so irritated and what grinds my gears is we promote. It's going to be sort of the same gripe I have when it comes to like Salvation Army or the United Way or all these big, not quote unquote nonprofit organizations. Okay. They say they advocate for mental health. They donate millions of dollars towards all these coalitions and everything like that. But when you go into the common workplace, when you go into the the actual day-to-day stuff, your boss don't care. Your boss does not care. Let alone does the cashier at work care, let alone does the gas station attendant. Those are, the gas station attendant that you've been going to for the past 5 years, they may actually care. It's all the small things that actually add up to something. When the one gripe that I've always had doing, starting this podcast is I still stand with my question. The question I've always had is, if you call United Way and you call Salvation Army for some type of assistance, guaranteed they're going to give you the phone line to somebody else. How many times have you tried to call the National Suicide Hotline and they just say, okay? How many times have you contacted the Salvation Army to request a little bit of food and they don't help. They just give you another phone tree to somebody else. Nobody is actually helping. So it's passing along a phone number. It's a phone tree that goes on and on and on and on and on. There's never a actual, okay, cool. Let's get you some actual help. And to my understanding, nobody has actually proved me wrong to this day. I'm more than happy if somebody was to bring me evidence to concede what I currently have. I'm more than happy to have that debate. But when, based on the current evidence, nobody has yet to challenge me on this opinion. What? Would y'all agree with her? Do y'all think I'm kind of crazy on that statement, or
No,
No.
you're right. It's always getting passed on to somebody else.
And what's even sadder is it's not just getting to the big corporate, it's not getting to just them. It's no longer just the Salvation Army or United Way. It's now starting to spread to actual church congregations itself. So when we talk about the spirituality portion of it, is the church is no longer there to help you spiritually. I myself, I don't go to a big church. I don't go to, Ebenezer Baptist Church on South Park Avenue. Or the First Baptist Church of whatever city, okay? Because unfortunately, they still bring the mindset that if you don't come with the newest suit or drive the newest car, or you're not willing to donate X amount of dollars, then you're not one of us.
Yeah.
It says as I've said countless times in scripture, it says, come as you are, weary and able. It doesn't say come in here with a 2024 Cadillac Seville. Sorry. Don't mean to be on my little podium here, but so for you, so both of you have advised that you are You, Megan, you advised you're more of the stay-at-home type due to your anxiety. You know, you kind of do have a small fear of worrying about your kiddos when you go outside and
Yeah.
whatnot, because the outside is becoming a very dangerous world. Nobody is even going to care for traffic. You know, I don't blame you. I'm not a parent. However, I can understand based off the examples that you've provided. Okay.
Mhm.
Aaron, you've advised that you're a parent as well, but you on the other side of the spectrum, you've advised that it's not necessarily anxiety, but you also deal with situations of depression over the last couple of episodes that we have talked, dealing with day-to-day emotions, dealing with the, are you being a good father? Are you handling your past, so to speak? Couple of episodes we talked about, being able to forgive the past that we can't talk to anymore, those past relatives. So when it comes to the quiet people, recognizing when mental health is slipping can be difficult. What subtle signs should people be aware of?
The main one is a change in eating habits. I notice when I start slipping down, I stop eating as much, or I'm
Okay.
not as hungry, or I'm tired constantly.
Okay.
It's the subtle things like that. It's the not eating, but more than once a day. Eating, or it could be the opposite, eating constantly. If someone just doesn't stop eating and try to drown their emotions that way, it can go either way on eating.
Okay. What about you, Megan?
There's a lot of things, but for like the way people talk or how much you're talking, how much you're not talking.
Okay.
You know, usually like someone starts talking more could be a good sign, but also couldn't be.
Okay. Okay. I'm smoking what you're smoking. Come on.
So it's like with the quiet person. They like to be in their own little world. They like to have their mindset in a certain way. Usually when they start talking more, it's either to, what is the word? Not satisfy, or try to be, I can't even think of the word right now, but try to be like other people. They're
Okay.
trying to change who they are to be like who they're surrounding with.
Okay.
That's kind of a sign of flipping, because you're trying to change not who you are, but like to try to fit in.
Trying to be with the popular people.
But in a way, it can be like slipping in, because it's happened to me.
Okay.
And I've tried to be more talkative, kind of when I'm, so that people don't think that there is something wrong with me.
Okay.
It's hard to explain, but I've done it.
Okay. Let me provide you with some examples. Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Before Robin Williams unfortunately passed away, everybody thought he was on cloud nine. His comedy, the way he talked, the way he acted amongst the public. He was literally one of the funniest people on earth. And so I use him as an example because I feel like I can sort of relate to that. Me always trying to be a bubbly kind of character. I'm always wanting to, let's talk about the gossip. Hey, what's going on with your life? Or always trying to be the light bulb in the room, so to speak. Um, but the demons that we fight within are the ones that we're afraid to tell people about. Does that so when
Oh yeah.
when I'm talking about subtle signs, what kind? I mean, I understand. We're looking at a movie actor here and a stand-up comedian, but what kind of subtle signs could we use in that example?
I mean, he's trying to make other people happy.
Okay.
I mean, I know, like with myself, like trying to see somebody else happy, even though I'm slipping.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just say, like you said, the goofy side.
You start to see that more prominence than the average. Like, don't get me wrong, they're goofy anyway, but for some reason they're
over
kind
the
of
top.
over the top
Mhm.
for some reason.
They're doing too much.
Okay. How can someone identify reoccurring triggers or patterns that indicate their mental health is being affected? So, to put that into perspective, have you ever caught yourself off guard? Not necessarily your husband or somebody else asking you, "Hey, are you okay?" It's you're the one catching it. What kind of trigger made you finally say, "I may need to check myself"?
Mm.
I don't know.
Have you never had a self realization moment like that?
Uh-uh.
Just look around my house and be like, oh. Like, so I need to get my head out of my ass, kind of a situation.
Yeah, right. That would be kind of what I'm looking for is what kind of trigger finally made you go, the wake up call, so to speak. Did it take somebody else to intervene, or or did you finally just look around and finally realize you dug yourself deeper than you thought?
That one. Yeah, I just gotta look around and be like, oh no, what have I
Okay,
done? Yeah, like,
I will be
what
back
have
in
I
a minute,
not been
Tater.
doing?
I understood. Okay. So I remember a time when I definitely overlooked the signs of my stress, thinking I could push through it. It wasn't until it affected my sleep and my relationships that I realized how
Mhm.
much it had snowballed. Let me tell you. As I've stated before, when Sean passed away, I literally went to work the very next day. There
Yeah.
was no there was no moment of a break for me because I knew I still had to get things taken care of. I still knew that, the processes that I triggered myself into. Are the bills currently stable? Is the funeral actually planned? Is work contacted? Is the work equipment that he had turned into work? I'm not necessarily processing the emotion. I'm processing the other steps to get things taken care of and not giving myself time. And
Yeah.
so before you start letting that go and you keep on that mindset of running through the checklist that I've spoken about before, it gets to an instance of you start having arguments with your relationships. You start having your coworkers are no longer talking to you like before, because you get so in tune to forgetting kind of who you are individually. Does that make sense, or
Oh yeah.
am I speaking just a little gibberish?
Oh no, that makes perfect sense.
Even today, I still struggle with my sleep schedule. My sleep schedule is monotonous. There are some days where I can pass out at, 11 o'clock on the dot. But then there are some days where honestly, I can't sleep at all through the night. Because I fight with my own mind, through the depression and through the issues that I myself have gone through this year. There's so many things that cause that start to add up. And then you try to use your coping steps of writing in a book or listening to a certain genre of music or, trying to get out of that headspace and bring some positivity. And the thing that kind of sucks though is at the same time, those thoughts that keep you up at 3 o'clock in the morning while everybody else is asleep, it kills you because you want to talk to somebody, but you're too afraid to wake them up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah. No, I have those issues. I have my mind's always racing, and
Right.
sleep is impossible. Some nights I could just lay awake for hours and be like, "What am I doing to myself?" I still got to wake up at the same time, but still have responsibilities. But my mind won't shut up, won't stop
Right.
for hours.
No, understood. And it really sucks. It really does its wear on you itself.
It does.
Because when you keep yourself up so late, at that point you're starting to lose even more sleep, which is developing even more insomnia. And then by the time you finally intervene on yourself, you've noticed that your sleep schedule is so messed up, you're starting to crash in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So to all my people watching, what I'm kind of stressing on the point here is you sometimes need to take a step back. Don't get me wrong. Enjoy the work schedule. Enjoy going, taking a look at things. But maybe like once a week, kind of check yourself a little bit. It doesn't hurt to kind of look at yourself and say, hey, I really don't think I'm feeling right here. And it's okay to have those feelings. I feel like a lot of people are starting to struggle to show those feelings and be willing to talk about those feelings. Because we're taught, here we go, we're taught on you have to keep those aside. Don't worry about those feelings right now. We have other things to get done. Don't you dare have a breakdown. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of work. We still need that report filed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I can definitely understand from everybody else's perspective of, Tater, it's not that simple. I know it's not simple. I walked through the valley of the shadow of death with you, okay? But but why can't it be that way? Why can't employers or actual coalitions make changes to help in mental health? They sit there and advocate for it. There's posters all over the workplace, but the posters don't do anything. You call the 877 number or you call the 1-800 number that the employer gives you. And once again, it's another phone tree. And what's very unfortunate is I recently got communication that he wasn't a dear friend of mine. He wasn't like a close friend of mine, but he was an ex-coworker that we really actually, there's two. I'll talk about the first. I'll talk about the girl that I worked with. She was literally all about gossip. Good gossip, I should say. She would be real with you 100%. There was a certain process that she was confused about, she would ask me questions. We would always talk about life. We would always talk about relationships and one of the things that we want to do. And I remember even talking to her about this podcast before I started it. Unfortunately, I'm sad to report that she unfortunately took her life last week. And so I want to dedicate that's one of the reasons of this episode is I want to dedicate this episode to Miss Una. Please identify yourself when you feel like you need assistance. Please check yourself. The other guy, the suicide is getting insane. I've lost 2 coworkers this week. One, Miss Una, that I lost last week, and then just 3 days ago, I received a report from a gentleman that I used to do debt collections with, Kenny Poor. Both of these people, unfortunately, have died due to certain circumstances that all correlate with mental health. And so I feel frustrated that nobody is actually there's not really a lot being done. There's, like I said, there's the posters, there's the 1877 numbers, but there's nothing beyond that. And so I want to talk about strategies to cope and improve your mental health. I want to start shifting into actionable advice. So, Megan, I'm going to ask you, what are your top 3 strategies in managing stress or anxiety when you feel overwhelmed?
I like when I'm overwhelmed, I sometimes make a list what I need to do. And I can divide it up into what days or how I want to do it. Or there's even sometimes I just need a body double to get things done. And so, like, I'll video call Aaron. We won't talk. We'll just be on video call, and I can do the dishes probably twice as fast than I can get them done without him there. And kind of taking a step back, to be honest with you, could be another one.
Okay.
And taking a breath. Talking to myself, saying it's not that big of a deal. Like, I know you're stressed. I know it's overwhelming, everything that needs to get done, or the doctor's appointment, or making sure my kids are doing what they need to be doing. Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. So we have strategizing a list. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then we have breathing technique. Then we have, what was the third one?
Body double.
Body double. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Aaron?
I mean, it depends on like the mood. Like if I'm anxious, because I do suffer from anxiety.
Okay.
If I start feeling like I'm anxious or I'm going off the deep end with it, I tend to just drown myself in music just to get my mind off of the topic that I was thinking about, to kind of change the way I think. Or I will just sit in lobbies on Discord and talk to people. I mean, not talk a whole lot, but I mean, sitting in there and hearing people laugh and joke around will start to snap me out of my moods.
Okay. So being around others to try to get you out of the mood, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I definitely also advocate that as well. I beg and plead with anybody that is watching this, future or current. If you feel like you are somebody that needs a friend to talk to, if there is somebody that you feel that you are in the darkest of moments, the gist of this podcast is to be a lighthouse for those that are crawling out for help in the darkness. That is what this podcast was built upon. That is what this podcast is supposed to promote. I want anybody and everybody to reach out to me. If you need guidance, if you need help, if it is something that I can't help you with, I have people that are licensed, that are on standby that I can communicate with. And so I also agree with calling that one friend that you know is going to be there. But I also understand that has pros and cons to it. And what I mean by pros and cons is, I'll ask you this, Megan, whenever you're in a dark moment, when you're in the darkest of moments where you feel like there's no light, who do you call?
My sister.
Your sister?
Yeah,
Okay.
she is. Well, I mean, she was there for me. I mean, of course, growing up. But, I mean, we see things differently now. So, she's older.
Okay.
So she has a little bit more insight on life, but she's easy to talk to.
Mhm.
She doesn't judge. She listens. Yeah. I mean, I only have my sisters. So
Okay.
one lives in California, the other one lives here with me. And so we're very close. So
Okay.
she's who I
And would you agree with my statement? If the call was that bad enough, would they come to you?
Oh yeah, in a heartbeat.
Okay. Aaron, if you're in your darkest moments, do you have anybody that you can call?
I do.
Okay.
Do I choose to call them? Most of the time, no.
Would you
Because
both go ahead? I don't mean to interrupt you.
because I know that he's got a younger boy that he's taking care of, and his family's always going to come first. I told him that no matter what, he's going to put his family before anything else because he is newlywed, new baby boy. I mean, yeah, if I call him and say, "Hey, dude, something's not right. You need to come get my stuff," he would probably drop everything in a heartbeat to come to me if I made the call.
So, would you agree? So, per the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, would you agree with my statement that nearly 1 in 10 men experience some form of depression or anxiety? But the outlier of that is, but less than even half of that actually seeks treatment.
I
Would
think it's
you?
more.
You think it's
I
more?
think there's more men out there that suffer from it, but are unwilling to mention it to anybody.
That was going to be my next question. Would you agree with my statement that out of three, if I'm correct, I'm trying to quote at the top of my head here, so I do apologize for the vacancy, but 3 out of 5 men in the United States alone have advised that they don't have anybody to call whenever they're in their darkest moments.
100%. not a lot of guys do have that feeling. They have someone to go to and make that call to.
Would you also did you also know that over 79% of men's deaths have now surmounted to suicide alone?
Mm-hmm.
Based on excuse me, I'm getting it pulled back up here. So the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention says that suicide is now the 11th leading cause of deaths in the United States. In 2022, 49,476 Americans died by suicide attempts. Out of that 49,000, 36,000 of those were male suicides. Men died by suicide 3.85 times more than women, with white males accounted for 68% of those suicide deaths in 2022 alone. So the reason I bring up these statistics is not necessarily to not consider the female need, but also shine a little bit of light on the male need for compassion, for assistance, for just help in general. So my question is, do you believe that building a mental health routine is more effective than reachting to than reacting to stress as it arises when it comes to these types of moments?
Oof.
These are some deep questions, aren't they?
They are.
If it gets too difficult, I can ask you a different question.
Let's circle back to that one.
We'll circle back. We'll say
You got the reference.
Okay. So, how can somebody identify? Let's see. We've already asked that question. Okay, this is a good one. What are some common mistakes people make when trying to manage their mental health long term?
Paul,
Do what?
alcohol.
Alcohol?
It's more of a depressant. So people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go drink and have fun with my friends, and they start drinking and they hear someone say the wrong thing, and boom, it's straight downhill, and it's 10 times worse than it was before.
Okay. Besides alcohol and drugs, I'm going to take away those easy answers off the rip. Besides alcohol and drugs, what are some other mistakes?
Thinking that you can handle it yourself.
Well, sometimes you can handle it yourself. It's when knowing that you cannot handle it yourself, not getting the help then. Because I mean, sometimes you can, like the little episodes you have, yeah, they're manageable by yourself. But when it gets too deep and too hard, and then you don't ask for help.
So, are we talking about like personal pride?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the slogan, get off your high horse.
Ego, pride.
Ego. I mean, I myself struggle with it, you know, like, I ain't gonna lie. You know, there have been times where I have frowned upon, like, okay, so October happened. The where I'm located, I was affected, not drastically, but I was affected by the flood from the Hurricane Helene. it killed me to ask for help, even though it was a natural disaster and everybody understood. It killed me to say, hey, I actually could use help with food. I could actually use help with some gas. So we're talking about personal pride. To put that in perspective beyond just natural disaster, when you're actually dealing with relationship problems of domestic abuse or common arguments that you and your spouse just get into, it doesn't necessarily have to be domestic violence itself, but like being afraid to ask a second opinion. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, despite all the progress, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's see, I want to ask one more question before. So, I'm going to ask, for those of you that are watching, I'm going to ask one more question to my people here. And then I want to take a couple of minutes to answer some questions from the audience that are watching us. So, my next question is, for you personally, what signs do you notice first when your mental health needs attention?
Ooh. When gaming doesn't become fun.
When gaming doesn't become fun?
hmm
Okay.
Like it's fun. Then when when my mental capacity gets too bad, I get irritated by the small things like dying on Call of Duty, zombies, Tarkov. Like yeah, I'm irritated with Tarkov right now because of the zombie event. They give them guns.
Okay.
They're accurate. Yeah, that's what I was saying too. But like normally I wouldn't get so pissed off being shot by someone. But when like I've had enough and like I need to just like walk away and go check on myself is when I'm starting to get irritated by the every little detail of just off what someone said, flip shit. Could be something positive and I flip shit.
So I don't want to disregard your answer here. However, one of my viewers has actually come up with an answer that I didn't think about. We were talking about unhealthy habits that we begin to start when we're having the mental health issues. Somebody actually brought up sex itself.
Yeah, I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
When the compassion with your partner is no longer a compassionate moment. Like I want to try to stay as PG as possible with that topic, you know. So essentially what I'm saying is sex itself with your partner is supposed to be something of passionate, something that is supposed to be meaningful and romantic for you and your partner that you're with. Eventually sex itself is no longer bringing that type of emotions back to you. Intimacy. Yeah. Excuse me. Thank you. I was trying to come up with the actual proper term. Excuse me.
And this is why we're together on this podcast, Tater.
Yeah.
We think alike.
We have English and then we have Tater-ish. Okay. We're just,
Yeah.
So
You gotta be fluent and tater-ish.
So I wanted to bring that up real quick because I actually started thinking about that and I thought that was a really good answer. So I do apologize. The answer that you had provided, Aaron, was when video gaming no longer is bringing the emotions of video gaming. Is that correct? When the excitement of actual, hey, I won Battle Royal, Fortnite, whatever. It's no longer the hype, as we all like to call it these days. It's more of like for me, it's I gotta hop on World of Warcraft. It's not. Hey man, I play World of Warcraft. You start feeling as I tell a lot of my guildies that are in that I help lead. The aspect of it actually still being a game and not being treated like a job. So video gaming. Okay, that's a good example. What about you, Miss Megan?
Oh man. I mean, I don't do much, so it's hard to say because all I do is either take care of my kids or I play video games. So, but I mean, I could say like socializing to an extent. Like it's not like trying to talk to people or trying to hang out with people or other moms. It's just you kind of see it's hard, man. That one's hard. That one's too hard.
So
like I don't want to. I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit at home.
okay, so I'm not trying to call it out in a negative way, but just pure laziness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I don't want to be like derogatory on it,
No,
but
no, I understand. A lot of my friends come to me because it's hard getting out with two kids, and a lot of people's houses aren't children proof. So, like having that issue, because my kids will get into anything and everything, and they put anything in their mouth. So, or will break anything. So, like, I don't like going to other people's houses because that alone will give me anxiety. Because I gotta be on the edge, making sure my full attention is on them, and I can't. It's not fun for me because I can't interact with the other adult that's there with me.
Yeah.
Okay. So instead of laziness, I'm going to go with fatigue itself.
Yeah.
The persistent tiredness of or lack of energy to even after adequate rest. We talked about sleep disturbances earlier. We did video gaming. We talked about difficulty of concentrating. So video gaming correlates with the loss of interest. It's no longer giving you the interest that you've always wanted. What about increased self-criticism? So essentially what I'm saying is like negative self-talk or like persistence of, your guilt or your worthlessness. You tell yourself that your mind starts to tell you you're not really worth anything. Do you
That never really shuts off.
You said that never really shuts off for you?
No.
Okay.
It's constantly always in a loop in the back of my mind because of how I am. Like I've opened up to people and had it get thrown right back in my face and pretty much told how like worthless I could be and for not opening up. Like, oh, that they want the emotional connection. Like I get that. Like I can try to open up and get that emotional connection, but it's always in the back of my mind, like, oh, they're gonna throw it in your face. They're gonna do what everybody else did. And it just constantly replays every day, all day.
So one of my other viewers also advised short temper. So, for example, Miss Megan, do you ever have examples, or do you ever have moments with your kiddos where they're like playing Legos or something, and for some reason, normally you would be okay with it, but like for some reason you're just like not right now.
Oh yeah. No, definitely. Cuz I mean, because I just man, they're so difficult. Kids can be so difficult. And I have children that don't speak. So that's even harder.
So,
And
if you don't mind me asking, I'd like to get some clarification. When you say they don't speak, are you speaking in reference of like nonverbal, or they're
yeah.
just not old enough to speak yet?
No, I mean, right now they're nonverbal.
Okay.
I mean, I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, and
Okay.
they don't speak words like they're supposed to.
Okay. No, I gotcha. Keep going. Keep going.
I mean, so they themselves have their own short temper, especially when they're trying to do something and it's not going their way. I'm the same way. If it's not going my way, I'm gonna have a freak out.
Mm-hmm.
And with them, like we'll play blocks, we'll play Legos, and they start throwing them, or it's just a big old mess, and it's just like I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I've had my fair share of playing for the moment, but yeah, it's hard.
I'm done. Tea party is done. I'm just so,
You guys can play. I'm out.
I'm out. So no, I definitely get that. Like I said, I'm not a parent myself, but like for example, during the summer when I go out to these youth camps, where I talk to a bunch of teenagers, typically each camp has about, I want to say, one camp will have about 180, and then there's another camp that'll have about 350 teenagers, and we're talking between the ages of 13 to 18. So let me put that into perspective. Me being 27, having to deal with the teenage angst of 13 to 18, dealing with do what?
Oh,
Yeah, dealing with the I had look some of these people.
Hormones.
Some dealing with the hormones, dealing with the quick comebacks that they come up with. Hey, I need you to be in line, and somebody will fire back, well, I need you to step on a scale. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Kids these days are a lot
They're
different than we
quick.
were kids.
Dude, some of these kids are quick, and what the beauty that I have taking care of these teens is I have a beauty. I have thankfully, I've been granted the skill to be able to work with them. And I understand a little bit of their background because I myself grew up in a lot of the background that these kids have grown up with. And some of them are easy, and then some of them are very tough. There are some kids that I've taken care of that they've already had a third suicide attempt. There's some kids that have already seen somebody get shot in front of them. So many traumatic issues, and what I enjoy so much is myself being able to be that lifeline for them, to be that life raft, to be there to help them along the way. These weeks that I go were very powerful, and I love doing it every single year. And there was Sean. He would always tell me, he's like, "You sure you want to go out this year?" Because a lot of people don't really know, but I have to pay to go to these places. This is not something that that is just waived. So not only am I volunteering my time, but I spend roughly about $2 to $3,000 a year going to these camps because of the cost of resources, the camp fees that we do, so that way it covers like the lodging and whatnot. So it can be very expensive, but to me, it is worth every dime and every moment that I have with those kids, because by the end of the week, we're all literally crying. We're all hugging each other. I've given my social media out to them like 30 times. It gets very powerful. And so I strongly urge, if anybody wishes to try to go into that work, into that type of volunteering, definitely try to contact a local camp and see if they need assistance. It is very, very powerful type of work, and we need more people like me to come into that. But anyway, so at this current time, I'm gonna go ahead and donate the remaining 15 minutes I've got on the clock here to answer any questions that any of the viewers have that they would like to discuss with me or the panel. I do ask that, the questions can be easy. The questions can be hard. You can either ask me if you don't want my opinion on it, or if you would like Megan's opinion on it, or Aaron specifically. Let it be known. And so yeah, I'm gonna give a couple of moments to see if there's a question that gets asked. So do you have any regarding that cruise that you're going on? Do you have any you going on any of the what do they call them, expenditures?
I don't think so. I think because we never had a honeymoon and we didn't really have a wedding either. So we're just going to relax. We don't really get to have time to ourselves. And it doesn't have any stops. I don't think. I don't know
Okay.
anything about it. Yes?
Ryan
Yeah.
says it does.
I don't, he hasn't told me anything, so I'm going in blind.
Oh, so it's his. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all him. He
Okay.
playing this.
Oh yeah. That I think you'll have a good time.
I
Maybe.
hope so. We'll see.
I hope so. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm just anxiety being on a boat. I've watched Titanic way too many times.
Look,
It's not like that all the time.
look.
I'm so
We all know.
scared.
Look, we all know there was more than enough room for Jack to be on that door too. Let's not lie here.
According to Mythbusters, there wasn't. Because they did test it. The same wood, the same weight, everything, and it would flip every single time.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I don't believe it.
I trust Mythbusters and science on that. Plus, it's not the boat you have to be worried about. You got to think about what's in the water.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
deep.
that's the
That's a
Arctic
deep
Ocean.
down in there.
But that was the Arctic Ocean. That's pretty
Yeah.
cold, and there was nothing up there.
Yeah, you'd be down by the Caribbean. It's gonna be nice and warm. There's no icebergs. You won't hit one. But if you do fall in, don't kick your
Don't say
legs and make
that.
splashes.
I know how to swim.
It attracts great white sharks. And
Don't
you'll
tell me.
be the movie Jaws all over again.
Yeah, but
Let's-
I've also heard in theory, not necessarily theory, but some marine biologists have advised if a shark is actually aiming at you, simply like boop them on the nose and they'll actually swim away from you.
Yeah, because they have so much neurological sensors right there
Yeah, but
for
I don't
finding
think
prey.
somebody panicking in the moment is gonna think, "Oh, I'm gonna boop your nose."
You might
I would.
kick
I
it,
Somebody,
punch
might.
it,
somebody,
light it.
somebody said, or Rose could have traded places with Jack.
It could have. Hey, but if you think about it, back then, men had to give it all up.
I mean, if we go along the theory, so there's have y'all heard the crazy theory of Jack Dawson?
That he wasn't real.
No. That Jack Dawson was real. So the theory is, um, Jack Dawson really existed, but he was a time traveler. Because you go from you hear the origins of Jack was he grew up in Dawson I want to say Chippewa Falls, and then he boarded a boat. He boarded a boat to Titanic. The Titanic sank, and then you have The Great Gatsby, where he was also out on the ocean, and he somehow acquired millions, and then he just washed up on shore, and all of a sudden had all this wealth, and then. Uh, that their Mr. Gatsby allegedly faked suicide because he had so many people coming after him. And then you have the gist of the movie Inception.
No. Going
So
down
we're
the rabbit hole.
so we're talking about a theory here that spreads across 3 different movies about Jack Dawson himself, just giving other aliases.
I mean, it could work.
Could. It
It
could.
could work. But we watched Jack die.
Did we?
Did we though? We watched him sink under the water.
But he wasn't breathing. He
Maybe
wasn't
he.
moving.
Oh yeah.
He
Well,
faked it.
how many times have you been sitting there watching TV with your husband, and he's so invested in the TV? You go, honey, 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 and then you have to hit him and go. You go, oh what?
I think he has to do that with me more than
Selective
sure.
hearing.
I get so like invested in things. But yeah, no. I mean, I see it. But then again, I mean, but they do say a body is not dead if it's cold. It's only dead if
Reserved.
it's warm. Yeah.
He was the first cryogenic patient.
No, I gotcha. So that's pretty much all the time I'm gonna have allotted for this episode. I really hope. So I have a episode coming up this Sunday instead of this coming Thursday. We're still going to be live Thursday, but we have a veterans episode coming up. The next episode is going to be Tater-talks episode 8. The mind of the war alone, not only with yourself, with your mind, but with the future of yourself. We're going to have a military vet on the podcast who's been deployed multiple times, and he's going to share his story alongside of where I'm going to sit down with him one-on-one, and we're going to ask questions once again regarding how can we help veterans alone. I do want that. I'm doing this episode mainly in honor of Veterans Day that's coming up this coming Monday. I know everybody kind of has a 3-day weekend coming up, holla holla, but you wouldn't have that weekend without the sacrifices of those who may have sacrificed some and some sacrificed all. So I would really appreciate if we had people come in and watch that episode with here on Twitch, Facebook, and TikTok. I want to thank Miss Megan for coming out this evening. I do appreciate you giving
Of
us your
course.
definitely your opinion on things. I do apologize if the questions were a little tough.
It's okay. It's okay.
um, and of course, Aaron, man, I appreciate you being on board with these episodes. I definitely hope we have many, many more coming along as we go with this.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, is there any questions y'all want to ask me before I wrap this whole show up?
I
Okay.
don't think so.
Okay. Well, to my audience, I love you guys. I love each and every single one of you. If you guys ever need to talk to me or you have a question, please, please, please reach out to me. This episode is in honor of Kenny Poor as well as in honor of Miss Eunice Stien, who unfortunately both lost their lives this past week due to the war on our minds. So I please give my heart and my support out to those families. And like I said, if any of my people need me, please, please talk to me. As always, my name is Tater-talks, the host of the Tater-talks, and you guys have a wonderful weekend.
A man who on every occasion has given the best that he has.
I'll be right beside you. Come in. I can seat you by the fire. Listen. There's something I must confide. I know I said that it'd be fine. I know I made it look like it'd be alright, but I think I learned my lesson, and I'm not gonna let you out of my sight. You can call me killer, 'cause I'll bring you to the light, and it might taste bitter,